one thing, like, that wasn't a process. I think it was like, more like a little, for lack of better terms, a little ritual. I know he always, when he was working on his albums, he would wear Biggie chain, his Cuban with the Jesus piece. Jay rocked that. He wasn't getting no cut neither until he finished the album.
People always say, if Biggie hadn't passed, Hov wouldn't be here.
That's ridiculous, right? I mean, I was here while Biggie was here, you know. The way we were working and the album that we were going to create together would have only made me better, you know, as a lyricist. So, and it's just like, you know, that's God's plan. It's just like saying Biggie wouldn't be here if, you know, Rakim had been on the Faith remix, or like, but I personally don't believe anybody could stop me.
Beanie Sigel is back in the spotlight, and this time he's calling out none other than Jay-Z. Yep, the Roc-A-Fella bromance we all thought was unbreakable is getting a serious shakeup. Beanie's not holding back either. He's accusing Jay of ruining his life, and the drama is straight up jaw-dropping. From loyalty to betrayal, we're diving into everything that went down between these two hip-hop legends. So, as we've said before, Beanie Sigel is straight up calling out Jay-Z for leaving him high and dry when he needed him the most, and honestly, it's just throwing more fuel on the fire. Jay's loyalty, or lack of it, has been getting side-eyed for a minute now, and with all these wild rumors about him supposedly using Biggie in some shady rituals, bruh, people are talking. Jay always hyped up Roc-A-Fella as this tight-knit family, but Beanie's saying that was all cap. Back in the early 2000s, Beanie was one of the realest holding it down for the label, even when things got messy. But when legal trouble came knocking, where was Jay? Nowhere to be found. That's why Beanie's out here saying he felt used and thrown away, and fans are connecting the dots like, is this just how Jay moves? Does he use people to level up and then drop them when it's convenient? And let's not act like we didn't see Jay distancing himself from Diddy recently when that Jane Doe lawsuit drama went down. Now mix in those wild Biggie rumors, and people are really starting to question if there's a pattern here. Is this all just some random stuff, or is Jay really out here playing chess while everyone else is getting played?
These niggas got me. And they don't want shit from me. They just want me to do this. Right. This music. They got me. Right. And that's all I asked. You got me. Right. That's where I came from. I never looked at me having a career. I never looked at the business. It was La Familia, La Familia, La Familia. We are family. Steve. All you had to do, you got me. So at that time, when, you know, I'm going to court, and we about to be on tour. We on tour. So
whole nother tour.
Yeah, we on a whole nother tour. So, you know, I'm going for my bail hearing and the feds.
To get why Beanie Sigel is so heated, we gotta take it back to the late 90s and early 2000s when Roc-A-Fella Records was running the game. You had Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs Burke building this whole dynasty vibe. Then along comes Beanie Sigel, a hungry rapper from Philly who brought that raw, gritty street energy the label needed. Jay peeped the vision and signed him in '99, and just like that, Beanie's name was ringing bells. By 2000, he dropped his debut album, The Truth, and critics were eating it up. Beanie wasn't just another name on the roster. Jay made it seem like he was family, but you know how that goes. Looking back, Beanie says he really thought Jay was solid, loyal, ride or die, someone who'd always have his back. But hindsight is a cold reminder, right? In the early 2000s, Beanie wasn't just an artist, he was a key player in the Roc-A-Fella lineup. Kanye West, Memphis Bleek, Cameron, they were all doing their thing. But Beanie, he wasn't just making hits, he was out here holding it down for the label. Whether it was on the mic or in the streets, Beanie was that dude. And let's not forget the State Property brand. That was Beanie's brainchild. The clothing line, the movie, the whole vibe. He wasn't just rapping, he was building Roc-A-Fella brick by brick. But by 2004, things started to fall apart. Jay and Dame were clashing over the label, and Beanie was caught in the middle, trying to stay loyal to both. Then Jay makes his move to take over Roc-A-Fella under Def Jam, and suddenly, Beanie's not part of the plan anymore. That's where the betrayal cuts deep.
Beanie Sigel at the time was driving 2 Bentleys.
They had nothing to do with him.
Right, he said, I don't know how. It's impossible to drive 2 cars at one time. He being
sarcastic. He can't no drive 1 car, how many cars he
Right,
had.
exactly.
I
thought that was a funny comment.
That nigga, you trying to deflect and
Like, what do you mean?
He also said, with his mama and the sticks and something.
That was disrespectful.
That was disrespectful. When I read that, I kind of cringed a little bit.
Yeah, like his mama.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah. And selling 800,000 records, I don't know what more you could do for somebody.
Nobody was asking Jay to do nothing for him.
Yeah.
He had to do nothing for him.
He said, what people choose to do when they attain success, at some point you have to look in the mirror and look at yourself. Beanie Sigel had a record deal, a record label, and a clothing line, and never went platinum ever. I don't know the history of rap. Has anyone done so much with so little? I don't even know what more you could do for a person at that point. A record deal, that's normal. A record label and a clothing line, if that's not pushing a person, shit.
Never had a record label.
You never had a label. So State Property was not your thing.
Never was on. Pull up one thing where State Property ever was signed under me. That's a lie. Jay made that money. It's supposed to be. For years. All right, next thing, we gonna do that.
The real blow came in 2004 when Beanie caught a federal case. These weren't light charges. He was looking at serious time. Beanie had always been in the streets, so trouble wasn't new, but he thought Jay would hold him down. Instead, Jay went ghost. For a guy who was told this whole thing was about loyalty and family, that kind of abandonment hit hard.
He was like, man, you need to come holler at the big hunk, man. Dude, don't fuck with me. I ain't going back there. And that's what I told him. Big homie, don't f with me.
When Beanie got locked up, he really thought his Roc-A-Fella crew, especially Jay-Z, would have his back. Like this was supposed to be the moment where loyalty kicked in heavy, but instead, crickets. No court support, no visits, not even a quick call. Later, Beanie opened up about how that silence hit him during one of the darkest points in his life. And then came the court moment that changed everything. Beanie had stepped away from the Roc-A-Fella tour to deal with his bail hearing, and things were looking up. The judge was ready to cut him some slack because of all the character witnesses, including Jay. But here's the plot twist. The judge asked Jay a simple question. Would he take responsibility for Beanie's whereabouts? Not his actions, just keeping tabs on him. And Jay's answer? A quiet, mumbled no. That hit Beanie like a ton of bricks. He was shackled, looking at Jay like, bro, you're supposed to be my guy. All Beanie could think was, what if I really needed to get out? What if this was life or death? Beanie later said if the roles were reversed, he'd have done whatever it took to get Jay out. But that no wasn't just an answer. It was the beginning of the end for their bond. What really stung? It wasn't Jay who stood by Beanie's side. It was Dame Dash. Dame showed up, supported Beanie publicly, and proved that family wasn't just a word to him. While Jay was playing it safe, Dame was out here riding for Beanie, letting him know he wasn't alone. That moment drew a hard line for Beanie. It wasn't just about the legal stuff anymore. It was personal. It left him questioning everything about Jay and their so-called brotherhood. And honestly, it's a wound that's never fully healed. While Beanie was out here battling in court and feeling abandoned, Jay was busy building his own empire. He was hyping up the Black Album and his retirement, making it all about the next move. To Beanie, it felt like a slap in the face. He'd been holding it down for Roc-A-Fella, going to war for the label, and when it was his turn to lean on the crew, Jay was nowhere to be found. By 2005, Roc-A-Fella wasn't the dynasty it once was. Jay had taken over as president of Def Jam, and Dame and Biggs had gone their separate ways. Beanie, he was left in limbo. He dropped The Bee Coming, and the album was straight fire, even though he recorded most of it while dealing with his legal mess. But here's the catch. The album didn't get the push it deserved. Jay, who was running Roc-A-Fella, wasn't giving Beanie the energy he once had.
He said, with his mama and the sticks and something.
That was disrespectful.
That was disrespectful. When I read that, I kind of cringed a little bit.
Yeah, like his mama.
Yeah.
In interviews, Beanie started speaking up. He felt iced out, like he wasn't getting the resources or support Jay had promised back in the day. But it got worse. Beanie later revealed that Jay wasn't just neglecting him, he was actively blocking him from other opportunities. Jay kept Beanie tied to Roc-A-Fella, but refused to invest in his career, leaving him stuck and frustrated. By 2009, Beanie had enough. He dropped the diss track, What You Talking About, and he didn't hold back. Beanie called Jay out for being disloyal and selfish, saying Jay used him for street cred and then tossed him aside when he didn't need him anymore. It was raw, emotional, and marked a major turning point in their fallout. Beanie's story isn't some isolated case when you look at Jay-Z's track record with relationships. Over the years, there's been a string of fallouts with major figures in his Roc-A-Fella camp like Dame Dash, Kanye West, and even Memphis Bleek to a degree. And the recent drama with Diddy, oh, it's just another chapter. Jay straight up denied being friends with Diddy when he got pulled into a lawsuit involving one of Diddy's accusers. But here's the thing, there's all kinds of footage showing Jay and Diddy acting like best friends. Remember Diddy calling Jay extended family? We've seen plenty of those, and it gets juicier. There's that viral moment where Diddy admitted that Jay skipped his own daughter Blue Ivy's recital to perform at the Bad Boy 20th anniversary celebration. Diddy was like, man's doing big things, but he flew in just for this celebration because this is extended family. Fast forward to today, and Jay's acting like they were never close at all.
There's only one person.
Oh, go on.
And I call him Sean. That's Jay-Z. We call each other Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean.
He's the only person who's Sean approved.
There's not a single person.
But wait, there's more. During Diddy's 2023 carpool karaoke with James Corden, he mentioned that Jay is one of the only people who can call him by his real name, Sean. He even added, nobody but my mum and Jay can call me Sean. So, how do you go from that to we were never friends? And don't forget, right before Cassie's lawsuit dropped in late 2023, Diddy received a BET Lifetime Achievement Award, and Jay recorded a heartfelt tribute for him. Diddy made sure the world saw how tight they were before the drama hit. Honestly, it's wild that Jay agreed to do that tribute video, especially with all the connections he has. It's hard to believe he didn't know Cassie's lawsuit was coming. So now, seeing him act like he and Diddy weren't close, people are seriously questioning it.
But for me, I mean, Jay, you know, you gotta remember, he didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl. That was crazy. I'm like,
Wait, Jay didn't want 50 at the Super
you didn't
Bowl?
know that? Yeah, he didn't want.
Even Tony Yayo jumped into the conversation during a Vlad TV interview, calling it out. He pointed out how strange it is that Jay distanced himself so quickly, saying, you've seen them together at all these parties, but now Jay's saying, that's not my man? That's kinda weird, right? And he's right. Jay and Diddy were always together at major events, from Rock Nation brunches to Diddy's legendary all-white parties. As for Beanie, Jay's fans defend him, saying it's not his responsibility to save anyone or keep them out of trouble. But many others see it as more than just Beanie's issue. It's a pattern. Almost everyone who helped Jay get to the top has a story about feeling betrayed. Big L, Jazzo, Dame Dash, Kanye West, each of them has their own version of being left in the dust. Even Kanye claimed that Jay was cold toward him at times. When you look at the bigger picture, it makes sense. Let's face it, nobody becomes a billionaire by being all about friendship and loyalty. Jay's cutthroat ways helped him reach the top, but it also turned him into a figure tied to a lot of shady stuff. No wonder Jay-Z's name is linked to so many mysteries in the game. What do you think about the whole Beanie and Jay fallout? Do you think Beanie's right to feel betrayed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and make sure to check out the next video.